Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm here with Kev, Mr. KT AVFC, and we are here to review the Chelsea game from yesterday and also address some of the rumours that are circulating around Villa Park today with regards to some potential managerial manoeuvres. So, yeah, plenty to get through today. I had a bit about a man flu yesterday, and as we all know, man flu is the worst illness in the world. But I'm back, res- relatively fighting fit today, Kev. And how are you, my friend?
Mate, good to have you back. Sorry to obviously hear you're not being too well. I'm sure everyone was desperate to hear your dulcet tones last night.
I
Talk
don't know
through,
about that, to be fair.
talk through another insipid. Well, performance was better, but as in second half, was a bit of a disappointment. But yeah, mate, I'm all right, mate. Can't complain. Can't complain. Just it's same old, same old. Isn't it? Disappointed by the Villa. Go back to regular life, and then get disappointed by the Villa, and then go back to regular life on repeat. Groundhog bloody day.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into the meats and bones of the game. Obviously, joining in the comments with comments from yesterday's game. Any positives? Obviously, the negatives. Does that give Gerrard a little bit more time, or has he definitely got just this week? And what you think of the managerial rumours that are circulating today? And of course, please leave a like on the video. We've been overwhelmed with the support that we've had over the last few weeks. We're up to almost 450 subscribers, which is absolutely fantastic. So if you are watching and you're new, please drop us a subscribe and help us get to that 500 mark, as we've got some exciting news when we hit that 500 mark that we've been talking about today, Kev.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah. So watch this space. Tell your Villa friends. Tell anyone you know that on your Villa groups. Hopefully, you're liking what you listen to, and yeah, there'll be plenty more coming. We're obviously trying to bring a few more of the short form videos. Hopefully, you guys have liked. Let us know again in the comments what your thoughts are on that. But just trying to keep you all up to date with the latest Villa news, latest talking points. Not just on the men's team, on the women's teams too. Obviously, who are doing great stuff this season. And any ideas, obviously, you've got as well for stuff to talk about, just let us know.
Absolutely. So let's get on with it without further ado. Let's get into the review for Chelsea and our match reaction. Um, you were at the game, Kev. Starting lineup was released. Two changes from the Forest game, which we were also at for that one, and it was Leon Bailey and Danny Ings coming in for Philip Coutinho and Emi Buendia. Any thoughts from you on the starting lineup that Steven Gerrard produced for yesterday's game?
Well, I was surprised to see both Coutinho and Buendia dropped. But then I guess it's neither of them have done enough this season. I know Buendia got a goal against Everton, and I know he hasn't played as much as Coutinho, but I don't think either have done that much. And Buendia obviously had a good opportunity against Forest and didn't do amazing things. And he obviously went for a bit more width. I thought moving Watkins wide was a good thing to try. Ings obviously being the more natural finisher, shall we say, and then obviously giving Bailey another chance. So yeah, I mean, everything else, I was a bit disappointed. I think with a team like Chelsea, which look at some of the changes they made second half and some of the physicality they brought into the game. Why someone like Dendoncker isn't maybe getting a start, because I think that physicality is something that's going to help you against the likes of a Kovacic, a Koulibaly, etc., etc.
Yeah. That being said, though, we started the game fairly positively on the front foot, and I think it was Danny Ings had a good chance right in the first couple of minutes, and then ball flies out to Douglas Luiz on the edge of the box, who hits one on a volley. So that attacking intent was there from the first whistle.
Yeah, look, it was definitely better. It definitely was better, and there were definitely more chances. Sorry if you can hear a bit of crunching in the background. It's my dog eating some kind of animal's trachea, so apologies for any vegans listening. But yeah, apologise for any noise. It's not. I'm not picking my nails. Don't worry. I've got a Great Dane for those that are interested. So yeah, he eats quite big treats. No, look, it was definitely better. It definitely was better. There was definitely more chances created. I think that the tempo was up. But I also think Chelsea gave us a bit of an opportunity with the lineup they picked. I think they were really, really open. And I mean, it says a lot when the manager's making two changes at half time.
Yeah.
Although that being said, I thought that's good management. I know. I remember years ago, 2 or 3 years back, when Bielsa did it. Did he make a change after half an hour against us in one game?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah. If you spot it, change it, and I don't think we've done that enough ourselves. But look, let's look at the positives first. We created more chances. Their keeper, who's also called keeper, or Kepa maybe, made more saves, I think, in that half than he'd done at any point in Premier League game. So, yeah, we created a bit more. I'm struggling to get any more positive than that, really, though.
Well, obviously, the big issue was, like you say, we started really positively and on the front foot, and unfortunately, a player that's been really consistent for us the last 7 or 8 games almost came back to his old self with a misjudged header right into the path of Mason Mount, and I think that picture sums it up, where he's just standing watching him put it in the back of the net. And it doesn't matter what you like as a manager. It doesn't matter whether you're under pressure, whether you're doing really well, whether you're kind of one game from the sack, or you're the best manager in the world. If you're conceding a goal like that, you just can't legislate for anything like that, can you?
You can't, mate. You can't at all. And I feel a bit for Mings because I think he's been our best player this season on balance. And, but again, it's bread and butter, isn't it, for a defender? That's heading a ball. It wasn't. I think the ball took a slight deflection, so maybe he mistimed his jump. I don't know. I'm trying to give him a bit of credit, really, because I think when the cross came in, I think it nicked off one of our players. But still,
right,
you've got enough time to at least get it anywhere other than looping up at the right pace and height and bounce for it to fall perfectly for Mason Mount. And whoever took that picture, the photographer, I hope they got a bit of a bonus from whoever they work for, because it perfectly frames it, doesn't it? And there's nothing you can do. But the thing is, and this is the key thing for me, stuff like this happens in football. The best teams concede silly goals. Happens to everyone. It's like anything in life. Bad things are going to happen. How are you going to deal with it? And against a team like Chelsea, you don't get many opportunities. Very much like the Spurs game last season. You've got to have enough quality when a team aren't at their best to take some of the chances to put them to the sword. Plenty of teams will beat Chelsea that aren't a top 6 team at, in a Premier League season. Well, not plenty, but, there'll be opportunities for teams to beat the bigger clubs. We don't seem to be taking ours. Well, certainly not this season.
Well, you talk about chances and we'll get straight into them, mate. I mean, Leon Bailey, who was very bright, particularly in that first half, missed an absolute gilt-edged chance. Good work down the left-hand side by Ashley Young, picked up by John McGinn, who was getting himself into the penalty box a lot more. Stands it up at the far post, and you've got to be putting it away, haven't you, if you're Leon Bailey?
I just think it was he was a bit weak. He was close.
Yeah.
From what I saw, he closed his eyes.
Yeah, he didn't want to bang into the post, did he? And you've got to be brave, man.
Near the post. I mean, he's got a defender in front of him. You've got to score that. I don't care who you are. You've got to score that goal. You've got to score it. Why get yourself to the back post and then close your eyes as you head it? I don't know. Maybe he didn't think he was going to get the ball. Maybe he wasn't expecting to get it. But they're the kind of opportunities. I mean, I feel a little bit for some of the other chances. I felt like some of them were good saves, but that was one that's just got to go in.
Absolutely, and then you talk about some of the saves. Obviously, Ings, again, good work from Leon Bailey down the right hand side, puts a cross in. You're thinking Danny Ings, like bread and butter chance for him, and Kepa manages to save it. I think he makes a great save from Ramsey. I think Louise has another shot that just goes wide. I think McGinn has a chance where he watching it on the TV, I don't think he could have squared it across. I think the defender would have blocked it, but he tries to beat Kepa at the near post.
Yep.
I mean, like you say, it's that Tottenham game all over again and we said it in the last podcast where we said we will probably play well against a Chelsea because they'll give you a bit more time and space. They'll allow our players to get at them a little bit, or they'll push forward, which allows us to kind of catch them on the break, and our players who like to put pressure on their defenders will be able to do it, and that's what transpired. The problem is just like that Spurs game, we're just not clinical enough. And look, it doesn't matter what it doesn't matter what manager you've got. You can't miss chances like that.
You can't miss chances like that. I mean, look, you're going to get chances are few and far between against the bigger teams. we created a fair amount of chances, didn't we, in that game yesterday? It was, I think we had 18 shots, didn't we, and 7 on target. So
something like that. I had the XG from Mark, who gave it us yesterday. I'll just try and get it now.
18 shots, 7 on target, 7 corners to Chelsea's 8 shots, 4 on target and 1 corner. But in reality, look, let's also not get blinded by this. He made a lot of saves in that first half. He made 6 saves in the first half. 3 of them came in about a 5-second period. So
I agree, but I think if we're kind of criticizing that in the same breath, it's like, well, Chelsea won without playing very well, and the 2 games that we've played, we've won without playing very well, and that's football. That's how it works. Like you play games badly and win. You play really well and get beat. It's about taking chances, and goals change games, and that's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, it's frustrating time at the moment. Yeah, it really is. Really frustrating. Can you still hear me okay? Because my signal's going a bit weird.
Yeah, you're fine. You're a tiny bit behind, but you're fine, mate. You're fine.
Yeah, good.
Before we talk second half, because I do think then the gulf in class in terms of the substitutions, the options, and maybe he was out coached a little bit in the second half came to fruition. But we're getting loads of comments in, so I will go through them. And thanks so much for everyone supporting us. As I say, drop us a like, helps us help spread the word. AJ says, hi lads. Hi AJ. Mark, evening guys. Reports say Gerrard has 2 games to save himself. We'll get onto that, as we will for Giggs. Is Poch incoming? Alan Evans, better performance. Mings cost Villa 3 goals in the last 2 games. Can't blame Gerrard for that. Yeah, we forgot about the Forest game, didn't we? We were there.
Mate. Yeah, we were there, mate. We were there. Just trying to get my internet going, so get this live on a podcast.
And Gary says we keep playing well against the top 6 and lose, and play poorly against the bottom 8 and not win. So that's it for Gerrard, in his opinion. We'll get into that, Gary. It's been an issue that's plagued Villa ever since we've been back in the Premier League, to be honest.
We spent money there. We spent money, haven't we? Like, you've got to spend the money on the right kind of players. That's down to the club. It's down to the CEO. It's down to director of football. It's down to the transfer impresario, whether it's Suso or it's Langer, and it's down to the managers.
Yeah.
And
I did also think that one of the things that I'm really disappointed of Gerrard in is I thought that he would bring that kind of ruthless streak and that not taking any prisoners. Like, I did think he would bring that and just sort of win at all cost mentality, and he hasn't. It just hasn't transpired.
Yeah, I think he started like it. This is the thing with the whole Gerrard thing. I'm not going too much into it right now, and we want to go for the game a bit more. But I just think he's almost undone all of his good work. He came in. There was a clear sense of, I think, intensity increased, and particularly those early games. It was the Brighton game, wasn't it, that we got a win? It was the Palace game away where Brighton were doing pretty well, like they have done the last few seasons. We beat them 2-0 at home, played well, beat Palace 2-1 away, unlucky against Man City and Liverpool. I think we then won the next 2 after that. I
beat Leicester.
Beat Leicester
after going behind. Yeah,
we did. Yeah. Was it Leeds? I mean, either way, there were some good results we had, and it felt like what the Village Gerrard was about fight, about passion, about intensity. It felt like we. I mean, I know you can say Chelsea, we created a few chances, but I think there's a wider point, isn't there, around why probably people are probably watching this thinking, I understand probably why you're not getting too excited by it, because it's everything before.
Exactly. It's not the Chelsea game that's the problem, is it? It's the Forest game, it's the Bournemouth game, it's the West Ham game, it's the Palace game. It's those games where you think, right, or the Leeds game, because you shouldn't be, you haven't got a God-given right, as you say, to win any game, but you certainly should be putting up better performances in those games and taking more risks in those games, because those are the bread and butter games that you have to go out and try and win. It's a free hit against a Chelsea, isn't it? It's a free hit against a Man City.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But also, ultimately, at some point, if you've got designs to do anything as a team, you've got to beat teams that are ahead of you. Like that's just the way that's life, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
if you're not doing it against smaller teams and you're not doing it against the bigger teams, then you're going to be in trouble of relegation. So
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I kind of look at it at the moment like for want of a better analogy, here we go. But like, say someone in your family gets attacked, shall we say, and you're in court, and the person in court says sorry. Like, I don't forgive you. Like, I'm sorry. I'm so much bad stuff's happened just because we have one good first half against Chelsea, and also on top of that, like, what did we do second half? Not much really. It definitely went a bit more flat. The players seemed to respond well to going a goal down. Once the second goal went in, there was still enough time. But yeah, I just thought the second half was disappointing.
Chelsea just they killed the game, and the substitutions they made they left us a bit exposed in midfield. Like they brought Conor Gallagher on, took Aubameyang off, who was very ineffective, but that extra man in midfield gave him a little bit of impetus, and then Jorginho just comes on and sort of settles it all down. But ultimately they've got the options to do for any outcome in any game situation, whereas I think we kind of obviously we had Coutinho and Buendia on the bench, but I feel like our only ace at the moment is a bit of pace from Bailey, especially with Archer not playing.
Yeah,
And
Ramsey will have fleeting moments when he goes at
yeah,
people.
so if Bailey's on the bench, you can bring on a bit of pace. But if you bring on a Buendia and a Coutinho, yes, fair enough, they've got a bit of guile, but they're not gonna. Once that game's settled, they're not gonna do a lot.
No.
And it transpired that they couldn't get enough of the ball, and they were fairly ineffective.
Yeah, they were, and I think it also says to me why I really don't understand why so many clubs voted for the 5 subs, because Chelsea absolutely killed that game by the subs they made. I didn't actually know. Apparently, this is the case, but you only get 3 opportunities to make subs. Apparently, half time doesn't count, does it?
Oh yeah, you're fine at half time. Yeah.
I was like, are they going to bring someone else on now? They've done it. They've made 3 lots of subs, but clearly not. But when you're bringing on Koulibaly and Azpilicueta, then you're in a bit of trouble. Then they bring on Jorginho. I mean, 3 solid defensive players that have got a variety of experience, have won multiple titles. What are you going to do when you're looking at? Are we going to bring on Nakamba maybe, or bring on Buendia? It's not going to go anywhere.
And Dendoncker didn't really do anything. Like his passing was a bit sloppy. He's not really got used to the pace of the game at all. So yeah, we just haven't got those options off the bench at the moment, and this is why I tiptoe around the Gerrard issue. It's like we have a lower mid-table squad. There's nothing to. We've got a lower mid-table quality squad. That's it. The only reason why we finished 11th when Dean Smith was there was because of Jack Grealish. That's it. And then whenever he didn't
for a few games.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for 3 games or something. Whenever he didn't play, our record was relegation.
Yeah, that second half of the season was bad. You're right. I mean, I think it's a fair point.
We have got a lower Premier League, lower mid-table Premier League squad. That's it. So bringing in a new manager, we're only going to be in the same position in 12 months' time. Now we can do it. We might get the new manager bounced, much as what we did last season with when Gerrard came in. But ultimately, we're dealing with the same players. So
I think there's more. I think there's more in these players.
Which ones?
I just think there's more in these. I think there's more in Coutinho if the system is.
But he's got the manager who apparently can get the best out of him. He's got the manager who was his captain, who's his best mate. Like,
well, let's look at some of the things that Gerrard's done right. He stuck too long with Watkins up front, and he hasn't been forming for ages. Right?
Who does he bring in?
Well, play Ings and Watkins.
Ings is crap.
I think Ings looked more threatening than the game.
Them as a front 3 looked more threatening. Yes, I'll give you that. Like in terms of their movement, and there was a little bit more kind of interplay. But is Ings gonna be able to hold the ball up against some big bruising centre halves?
No, but then you maybe you don't let Keenan Davis go on loan. You've got another option if you're going to play that kind of answer. Maybe you play Watkins.
Maybe. But
Watkins
is Keenan Davis Premier League? Is Keenan Davis better than a lower mid-table Premier League team?
No, but then if you're Aston Villa and you've got, I don't disagree. If you're Aston Villa and you've got 2 billionaire owners and you see what Newcastle are doing, then bloody buy somebody else. If you don't think you've got the personnel aren't there. Don't say we've done our business at the start of this window when you've brought in a midfielder. You know, in Kamara, you've put Carlos in, and you've signed Coutinho. Because we all knew last season. Ask any Villa fan back end of last season. We all knew that something wasn't quite right. We knew it.
Absolutely.
We knew offensively
we've known it 4 years ago. We've known it. Like, I think the 3 years in the Championship, I don't think we realised how much those 3 years in the Championship killed us as a club. Like, we are no longer a big team in the Premier League. We just aren't. So for us to even get any players that are like, we pulled off a coup in getting Kamara. We really did. But for us to think that we're shopping in the same leagues as even West Ham, like, we're just not. Our players just aren't good enough.
But we should. But why not? Why not? Have we not got the money?
I don't know, but it's maybe reputation. It's maybe we need to prove ourselves, like you say, mate. I don't disagree, but what I'm saying is to consistently say that we should be like. I think they ruined it by the bullish talk at the start of the season. They really did, like in pre-season, saying we should be finishing top 8 or whatever, because clearly this side is nowhere near good enough for that. Absolutely nowhere near good enough for that. I mean, Palace are 1 point ahead of us or something, and they absolutely wiped the floor with us when they played us.
But if you look, it's not just fine. You know, maybe you're not gonna. Maybe we couldn't get Scamacca because maybe you wanted to go to London. Maybe Isak was blown away by Newcastle's wages. But are we saying that there aren't players that other teams have bought that we couldn't have bought that wouldn't have made us better? I mean, have Brighton not got players they've brought in? Have Brentford not got players they've brought in? Are other teams out there not buying players that are making a difference to their sides? There are players out there. We're supposed to be a proper football club with a proper scouting department, with a good recruitment team. So are there not players out there that would have made us better? Is that all that was available? I'll come back to that point. We've said it a lot of times.
But I mean, there must have been. But yeah, I mean, we're just fans, aren't we? We don't know the ins and outs of trying to get a deal over the line, dealing with lawyers, dealing with agents, and all that sort of stuff. And I'm sure they get videos, they get players touted to them all the time. But yeah, I mean, we've been saying for the last 4 years that we needed a bigger player up front and then a bigger player in centre mid. Now we seem to have sort of solved the problem in that midfield area. He's injured, but we just haven't sorted the issues out up front.
No, and it is desperate as well when, I come back to your point again, but I'm not saying Davis is the answer. I think, there's been a couple of comments like, I'm not saying this, I'm just saying if you buy nobody else, then keep him at the club as a fourth striking option in games when you need a bit more physicality. You play him or you bring him on. My point is, what are our options? Our options are Archer, who doesn't give any time to, and Ings, who doesn't give much time to, and Watkins, who's misfiring.
Yeah.
So it's like you need a variety of things to do, and
and again, I'm not saying that he hasn't. He can get more, like 379 Stephen saying he's tactically inept, change under his manager, and he's had long enough in and out of his depth. I'm not saying he's not inept tactically, or the coaches haven't done enough. We seem to have lots of cooks at the moment in the side, and you've got Austin McPhee, you've got Gary McAllister, you've got Neil Critchley, you've got Aaron Danks. How many coaching sessions are all these lads doing? Because it seems a bit muddled. It seems like there's so many cooks that it's spoiling the broth.
I think they're all at the Belfry rather than with a few beers after a round of golf. Look, I hear the point you're making around the players. Are the players good enough? And we've spoke about it before about are they championship players? Have they reached the level? But I think it's a combination of things. I think the players are as guilty as Gerrard, but Gerrard is certainly going to go down on the same charges. Because I think you
can't change 11 players, can you? So the option is to change the manager and hopefully get something there. But
can I just say as well? I think there were other things that he could try. You talk about what else can he do? He could play the double pivot. It would be nice at some point to see. the solidity of a Dendoncker and Louise, or Dendoncker and McGinn, or Nakamba and Dendoncker. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to change the world, but there's an option there. You've got a situation where if you're not going to bring anybody else in, then keep one of you, maybe a Traore around as another option if you want to try and stretch your game and get at teams. But why let them go and not bring anybody else in? I just think there's been some foolish decisions made in terms of people that we brought in.
Agreed. John Bambury says, as soon as Bailey went off, we lost the threat. And I think though he had an agreement that with the medical team that he was only to do 60 minutes or between 45 and 60 minutes or something. So I think he played 64, and that was about his limit. So that's a fairly positive sign that he looked threatening, and could he got through that. But my only issue is he's most likely going to have an ineffective game against Fulham because it's away from home.
Do you know what as well? Like, I didn't think he was that good.
Yeah,
he put a couple
it's
of
wingers though, isn't it? It's wingers, isn't it?
Crosses in the box.
If that header goes in or whatever, it's.
Did he beat anybody at any point? Did he go past his man on the outside and get a cross in? I can't remember him doing that. Did he dribble in and out a couple of defenders and get a shot? He missed a header he should have scored. Finally put a couple of good deliveries in the box and there's a couple of little touches. I don't think he was that good. I think what he was a better version of Bailey, and therefore we're saying that Bailey did pretty well. I thought Bailey was pretty average. I think actually, and let's not forget this, in that first half we were up against Cucurella, who looked like he was out of sorts. Raheem Sterling was playing at the back, basically. Like another team, look at when a team's not at it. Look what happened to Man United when they played Brentford and they were 4-0 down. Right, when they were not. And I'm not saying Chelsea were as bad as that in the first half, but you've got to take your opportunities and chances. Look at when...
Well, it showed, didn't it? It showed, you make 2 errors, they stay in the game, they know they're going to get a chance at some point, and we gifted them to him. And, Martinez, I'm really not sure what he was trying to do. It was so far out. Why you'd try and second guess a free kick when it's that far out, I really don't know.
Argentina international goalie, Copa America winner. Watch where the ball's going and save it. Like, it's simple. I mean, I was sat in the Trinity, quite centrally. I was pretty much right behind it from the angle it went in at, and it looked like it's just to the right of centre. I cannot believe it went in. I cannot believe it went in.
Well, watching it back, it's like he takes those 2 steps and it literally goes in the middle of the goal. So if it had stood where he was, he could have just thrown his hat on it.
Yeah, but
I honestly, and then he kind of lost it after that. He was a little bit, shaken from it.
Yeah,
but I agree. It's a frustrating game, and yes, fair enough. We can look at it and say, for 60 minutes we played really well, but ultimately we lost.
Play really well.
We lost with an opportunity to beat a team that were really under par.
Yeah, that's the reality of the situation. We played better than we played against bloody Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth and West Ham, and we had some moments of chances we cracked. We were at home against the Chelsea team that were not at the races. What do you expect us? We've got to create some chances, surely. Otherwise, there's no point turning it. Might as well turn it into a potato patch and sell various fruit and veg there. Like, you're going to have to at some point do it. And yet there were more signs of life. But it makes it even worse if you don't take the opportunities.
Yeah, I agree.
Ings' header, I think, was a bit unlucky because I think he was stretching for it. It was a good cross by Bailey, and I think he has got a good delivery. But his corners were crap all day. It wildly inconsistent with.
We had loads of corners as well again, didn't we?
Yeah, we had 7 corners. I can't. When was the last time?
Any headers on corners?
Courtney Hall's Man United aside, when was the last time we scored a header from a corner?
I really don't know.
I've no idea. No threat really, but anyway, Bednarek could be pretty good, wouldn't he? In for the most, he used to score for Southampton every now and then. Physicality.
Yeah.
We don't. Free kicks, terrible, rubbish. No point, is there? No point having set pieces. I mean, Austin McPhee. I mean, sorry for the random rant. What does he do? We're not defensively strong at set pieces, and we're not attacking. Why is it any good at set pieces? We're not creative at set pieces. What does he just do? Go, lads, go and chill out. Dougie's going to take some corners again. Is that all they do?
I really don't know. This set piece, I know Danny Murphy got a lot of stick for it, but this set piece coach thing. I understand that they're important. They're an important part of the game. But when our delivery is so bad, like set pieces are all based on delivery, right?
Yeah,
They're not based on like that much where players move in the box or what you try and do here, there, like players standing in a line or players bunching together or attacking front post. It's about the delivery, and our
yeah.
delivery is shocking. Doesn't matter who's taking the corner. It's shocking. Bailey can try and take them. McGinn can take them. Louise can take them. Other than him scoring direct from a corner, which fair enough, happened twice. It's not going to happen again this season.
No,
So what?
it's not.
It doesn't matter how many set piece coaches you've got or whatever they're doing. They're not. It's about delivery, and also if you get a free kick outside the box 25 yards out and just hit the wall, like what's the point?
You know what's quite funny as well? Not funny, actually. It's the opposite of funny. I don't know why I said funny, right? But you were at one game with me. You were at another game with me. You went to Forest, and also the home game we went to together. But I've been trying to get a goal on video, so me and my lad have got something to watch afterwards. And obviously, opportunities are like set pieces, like no corners. The amount of times for the last 2 seasons I've recorded when we get a corner or a free kick, the people around me must think I'm an absolute knobhead. Look at this dickhead again. There's even times when I go, I'm not going to get my phone out now because maybe we'll score, and even that doesn't work. It's just
Honestly,
it was just. Do you know what else as what it is as well? It's decision making. Whether it's shooting when we should be crossing. There was a time where Ings had a shot sort of near post when I thought he should have squared it in the first half. There's can we try a different type of set piece? Can we do something creative? Listen, it was better, and there was some chances. You made a great save from Ramsey. You made a great save from Ings' header, but everything else, did we really threaten the goal otherwise? I saw Watkins's where the shots would have gone when Watkins's chances happened.
yeah, he got his header on a few things, but they went well wide. But yeah, we need a win, man. We need a win. But anyway, I think that's enough on the Chelsea game. Like I say, a few positives, but ultimately we got done by a more experienced side. They were able to make their changes that killed the game off, really, and without playing very well. Also, you get the impression that they were really in third gear, and if we'd have got a goal back in or got 2-1 up, they'd have probably really stepped it up and put us under real pressure. So obviously we can't say that now, but it's a difficult one.
Can I just say, I think
Yeah.
that final point is a really, really good one. Is that it was easy street. They had to deal with a little bit of a flurry of a couple of chances in the first half, but second half they didn't really break a sweat, really. Koulibaly came on, Jorginho. I thought Kovacic was great, by the way. I mean, much more impressive than I realised than he actually was. And yeah, it was. You always felt if they needed to get out of third gear, they would have done it to win the game. Fairly easy win for them.
Yeah, gifted goals. One person who was really stone-faced in the crowd from the Sky Sports camera was panning up to Johan Lange and Christian Perslow himself, and I know you wanted to mention him on today's episode. Obviously, Gerrard's been under a lot of pressure, but this man, Christian Perslow, has to take a portion of the pressure as well and portion of the blame.
Yeah, well, he does, but I think he's getting a little bit of a rough ride because other than the managerial appointment aside, I think what the club's doing and everything else, whether it's the academy, whether it's the women's team, whether it's the plans we've made to the council and obviously the government to do everything we want to do about the stadium expansion, he's I think putting Aston Villa in the right kind of profile that we want to be in. Again, I know he's not solely involved in this, but I imagine he plays a big part in whether it's the Las Vegas Villains, whether it's the links to the African clubs we've looked at. So I think if you're getting some people saying he's got to go as well, well, at some point, does every chief exec that chooses the managerial appointment have to go as well? So does anybody, does the person that supported Moyes at Man United have to get sacked? Does the person that supports Steve Bruce at the Baggies have to get sacked? Person that supported Nuno at Spurs have to get sacked, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
And I think at the time, the Gerrard appointment, I think a lot of us felt it was exciting. He was an absolute winner as a player. Took Liverpool from sometimes often quite a poor Liverpool team to Champions League, FA Cups, League Cups. Didn't quite get the Premier League, but he was a winner as a player. Did a good job, albeit a lot of that seems like it was Mickey Beale's work. But with Rangers, he was young. He had a big profile to attract players, which we've certainly seen with Coutinho, with Kamara, with Carlos. I don't think you can fault him for giving Gerrard the opportunity. And let's be clear, I think a lot of us, few people said they weren't sure about it, but I think a lot of us at the time were pretty excited about it. I was very excited about Gerrard coming in.
I was pin my whatever. What is the saying?
Flags to the mast.
Flags to the mast. Totally with
tail
Gerrard.
of a donkey. Pin your tail of a donkey.
Yeah, and I'm. It's inevitable that he's going to go. It is because, even if he gets a result on Thursday and a result on Sunday, it's still going to come to a point where he's going to get, his marching orders. But yeah, I was all for it. So yeah, it's just one of them, and I think you are right. I think Gary makes a good point. He went with his heart instead of his head when he got Gerrard, and he can't do that again. But I think the reasoning was there was a little bit of we've gone as far as we can go with Dean Smith. The Jack Grealish, Dean Smith love story had ended. And we needed someone who wasn't quite as nice or whatever with the players. As I said before, needed someone who had that ruthless streak. Would maybe instill that in some of the players, but at the moment, or for whatever reason, it's just not transpired. And whether he's been rocked by the Mick Beale, leaving and Critchley coming in and not quite hitting the ground running or putting his stamp on the team, I don't know. But like you said, mate, the players can take a lot of the blame and culpability, but it's the manager that always has to fall on his sword.
Yeah, and you've got to give the manager an opportunity. So you don't have a good end to the season, fine. You give him a summer, and give him the pre-season, give him the transfer window. You don't have a good start. Well, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Bad performance against Bournemouth. We carry on. We beat Everton. We lose to Palace. It's a bit topsy-turvy. You lose a couple of injuries. So it doesn't surprise me that he's still there, because I think he's wants to give Gerrard an opportunity to turn it around. You don't want to be a Watford, do you, and start sacking a manager every 3 weeks?
No.
But on the same token, you've got to be consistent. Consistency is the thing that I think a lot of people in the world struggle with. You say one thing in one breath and you do the opposite thing. If you're going to make the point in the press conference with Gerrard by your side that it's about continuous improvement, and there is clearly no continuous improvement. Some stats I just wanted to mention as well. And if you saw the stats going around, but Villa have got 2 wins in the last 18 games against current Premier League opposition. To take out, your teams that have been relegated, obviously.
Burnley and Norwich.
2 wins in 18 games. We've scored 13 goals in those 18 games. And in those 18 games, get ready for this, we've got 11 points, 0.61 points per game, or 23 over the course of a season against teams that are currently in the Premier League. And this is, Dean Smith had a fantastic start to one season and a really bad end to it, and then a bad start to the next one. Gerrard now, he knows there's pressure on. I think the board knows there's pressure on, and I think we're only around the corner. It maybe as much as I was annoyed, it probably would have been a bit too soon to sack him after a West Ham or, sack him after a Forest. And actually, I've thought on this a bit more. Even though it's shit, we are, before the weekend, we were 4 games unbeaten. So did they feel it stopped the rot a little bit? They're going to give him a chance to try and get some wins on the board. But it's getting to the point now, and this is the biggest thing for me, where the board can't be stupid. Well, I was at the ground, obviously at the weekend. There were boos on the final whistle. There's a bit of this going around Twitter, but just to kind of confirm what I saw. Boos at the final whistle, which you'd expect, a few straight after the whistle goes, a few boos for a few seconds. But then when Gerrard didn't acknowledge the fans, was with the players not far from the tunnel, then went straight to the tunnel, the tone really turned. And unless Purslow had just nipped straight in, which I'm sure he probably did to maybe have a glass of something nice, I was actually surprised. I was half almost out the door, leaving the seat, and kind of turned back to see what was going on. And the fans were very much like, boo, boo, like really. Like what I did there.
You were at the front, yeah.
In case anyone didn't know what a boo was, there you go. That was a boo, but not so loud to wake my kids up upstairs. Boo. But yeah, and I just think they're not stupid, are they? It feels like they must know the fans are turning. The other thing is this: I cannot remember a flatter atmosphere in Villa Park. I was sat there with everyone else quietly while Chelsea fans were singing, shall we sing a song for you, and et cetera, and then they get that goal after 5 minutes. But
Yeah.
whoever it was. It feels like the whole of the crowd have got a shared lethargy. Just a little bit of antipathy. Like we're just lackadaisical. Insert more synonyms here, but we just feel like we've lost that heart. We've lost that hope. I think the connection's gone from the club, not just from the Dean Smith, Jack Grealish days, but also the things that Gerrard says. Let's talk about this. By the way, the board and Gerrard are talking about us being unlucky. I don't buy that. Like, you make your own luck. Are you unlucky when you're missing chances? No, you need to take some of the chances that you have. The other thing about Gerrard saying Chelsea should wipe the floor with us. I do not want my manager of a club like ours. Yeah, we've fallen a bit. Yeah, we're not the team we used to be, but we're a team that have had some great results in recent years. We're back in the Premier League, and Chelsea should not be wiping the floor with us at home against the full house. And saying that says a lot to me. I don't think he'd ever be saying that if he was Liverpool manager about any other team, if Real Madrid came to town. I just think it's negative language, and it puts our club in a bad light.
I didn't think it was bad at all, but everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I thought he was saying it in the context of Graham Potter being the Chelsea manager coming from Brighton, and the pressure that brings. So
Yeah.
Chelsea being a Champions League winner, Chelsea being like with all the money that they've got, their expectation is they should be coming to Villa and wiping the floor with us. That's what the context that we were saying. But I think it was badly worded, but
He's
yeah.
doing that a lot. There isn't he? And actually, like, what does it
He's
say?
probably a bit too honest with like some of the comments that he says. But at the moment, everyone's just going to read everything into what he says. Everyone's going to hate what he says. Everyone's going to say it's a load of rubbish. So, look, he can't win.
No, but like I don't think you set a very good tone when you say that. I mean, you could say, Chelsea a good team, probably expected to win, but we'll be giving it everything we've got come Sunday at Villa Park.
I'm sure he did, though. I'm sure he did say that, and I'm sure he said that in pre-game interview. I just think it was in the context of asking the question about Graham Potter. That's what it was.
Yeah,
Like
I know
the
stuff can get
pressure
taken
that
out of
Graham
context.
Potter would be under managing Chelsea as opposed to managing Brighton. So Brighton coming to Villa Park, they wouldn't be expected to wipe the floor with us. Chelsea coming to Villa, they would be expected to do that.
Yeah, but
That's the context that it meant.
Yeah, but we'd also be expected to wipe the floor with Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest, wouldn't we?
Absolutely, yeah, 100%, 100%, yeah. But like Chelsea didn't wipe the floor with us, so
No, but why say it? Would Thomas Frank say that someone should wipe the floor with Brentford? I mean, it's not beat us; it's annihilate us, wipe the floor with us. And maybe it's a bad choice of phrase, but it suggests that we should get absolutely destroyed. We're Aston Villa at home in front of a full house in the Premier League against a team that not the home game against them before, but the one before we beat them 2-1. So it's not like it would be a crazy result for us to get it. And I just think it's another thing he said. Look at the whole situation with the Mings cats.
Do many favors. I'll give you that, but I'm not gonna hold him against him because I totally understand the context.
But you know what it's like now. It's like now. When you have an issue with your bank, and something happens, and then you're on the phone, and then you're on hold for too long, and then you're like, I'll tell you what, as well, the whole music's annoying me, and that woman was rude to me on the phone, and you overcharged me for that payment that you said didn't come out, and it did, and I think
exactly.
It's just that knock-on effect of like we're now looking at things that annoy us about him because we're basically shit at football, and everyone's pissed off.
Exactly. So yeah, let's say he can't win. And and even if he gets a result against Fulham, even if he gets back-to-back wins against Brentford, we'll be waiting for that game against Newcastle getting beat. So anyway, lastly, we'll talk a little about an article that came out in the Telegraph this afternoon, which apparently, I mean, well, I'll ask your opinions on it, but yeah, apparently, according to the article, Villa will make an ambitious move for Maurizio Pochettino, and try and tempt him to the club. Obviously, Sam, regular on the pod, is a massive Pochettino fan. Obviously, comes with a great record at Tottenham, at Southampton, Tottenham, and did pretty well with Paris Saint-Germain, although didn't live up to their expectations. But yeah, gonna have a real go at trying to tempt him to Villa. Now, what are your thoughts on it and the realistic nature of us getting him?
Well, me and Sam actually, like we do sometimes in the pod, disagreed about a few things over the last few months, but we were absolutely both unanimous in one pod together where we were like, let's make it happen. And I think we were the only two out of I think everyone would agree he's a good option, but we are probably the two most bullish and confident that we think we could get him. And I know I've got those kind of cloud and blue tinted glasses on, but I look at it like this. Sam's made this point, and Sam, if you're listening, mate, I know we share this opinion, but which of the Premier League job is he going to get right now? Because I can't see Conte go anywhere, Arteta go anywhere. He wouldn't go there for obvious reasons. I can't see Potter going anywhere. I can't see Ten Hag going anywhere. I can't see Eddie Howe going anywhere. Klopp maybe at some point, but Liverpool seem like to turn a bit of a corner, etc., etc., etc. Who's the other one? Guardiola. That's it. You remember him. What's he going to do? Is he going to go to West Ham over us or Leicester over us? So I think if he wants to be in the Premier League, which is the best league in the world, then we are the infrastructure, the history, the fan base, the stadium, the plans, the ownership. We've got some of the top 5th or 6th richest owners in the Premier League. The funds absolutely should be there. The academy's brilliant. I just think it's an opportunity for him to do something massive, exciting. Now, yeah, would he rather go to Juventus? Maybe. Would he rather go to, I don't know, Bayern Munich? Who knows? But I don't know. I think we've got to keep our sights high. We've got so much to offer. And the right manager that can get the fans on board, that can work with us, to maybe have the warmth of the warmth of Dean Smith with the winning attitude of Steven Gerrard as a combination. I just think that, people talk about having Watkins and Ings merged as a striker, the physicality of Watkins and the finishing of Ings. Well, I think if we had a blend of better managers, I think we'd get somewhere. And he's tactically brilliant. I always remember Pochettino being very much of the opinion when Southampton sacked Nigel Adkins. I couldn't believe it. I was really annoyed actually that this youngish ex-physio turned manager who got him promoted has been jettisoned for this fancy Dan foreign manager. And my God, he was brilliant. He was brilliant, and he did a really good job at Spurs. Got him to a Champions League final. Fine, they did a Spursy thing and didn't win, obviously, but and what the style of football that they played, and it was exciting and it was attacking. And I just think he'd get the best out of us. And whatever we need to do, if there's a sniff of an opportunity, if there's any chance of getting him, we've got to get him. I don't care if you beat Fulham 42-0, right? And the whole club team come out and say we want Gerrard. If Pochettino's available, sorry, Stephen, thanks for your time. See you later.
You ended on a high. My only issue with this article is the wording is Villa would almost certainly be prepared to wait for Pochettino if he unexpectedly showed any interest in the job, but did not want to make an immediate commitment. Now, to me, that doesn't sound like someone who wants to come to Aston Villa.
You know that scene in Dumb and Dumber where
exactly.
Jim Carrey, she's saying not in a million, and he's saying, so you're telling me I've got a chance?
Yeah.
It's exactly that. Yeah, maybe that's I'm hoping that sort of like artistic license that the journalists put in there themselves.
I know, but then they go on to say, were he to reject an approach, then more ambitious checks could be made on former Chelsea head coach Thomas Tuchel, who's out of work, and ex-Arsenal manager Unai Emery, who is in charge of Villarreal. That's just going for managers that like are the flavors of the month at the moment. There's no investigative journalism there, in my opinion.
No, and it might be absolute bullshit. It might be, but I look at it and think there's been a few rumours to buy. Is it a lazy link? I don't know. I just think that Birmingham it's a big city. People will laugh about that, but it's not like it's it's the arse end of nowhere. It's very well located transport wise. If London, whatever. We should have a really good budget. We've got already admittedly not as good as we think it is, but with a few changes, I think it could be a very, very appealing squad. We've got some fantastic young players. That young Tim Irobenham is very,
doing very well.
Right, doing very well. Cameron Archer, Jacob Ramsey, his brother Aaron, Kessler Hayden. I'm not saying these are all going to be the answer and coming through from the youth team to the first team, but we've got some good players in that team.
Poch is good with young players. Yeah. No,
I think
that we have got things that sell the club, but like I say, the other point is that if Villa's owners and the way that they've done their dealings over the past 2, 3, 4 years since they've been in charge of the club has generally been not really releasing anything to the press and then making the signing out of the blue. So why they would then leak all this news to go out on Twitter to 3 journalists with the Daily Telegraph, I don't know. Like it seems
fairly
John
reputable.
Percy is a good usually does get the scoop, but it just seems a bit of a weird one that like why they would suddenly announce managers, and especially as the current manager's still there.
Well, look, it's given me a little bit of hope, and I've got absolutely no hope watching the video at the moment. So if it is, if someone said like Guardiola was interested and it was out in a few papers, then I'd go for it. I don't know why Guardiola doesn't go for it. I mean, it must be good.
He should. Yeah, it's too easy for him at Man City, isn't it? I mean, actually just come off a defeat, so.
Do you know what I used to do when I played sensible world of soccer when I was like 13, 14, 15 back in the mid-90s? So I remember taking Leyton Orient from League 2 to the Champions League, and it felt better than just playing with Man United or Villa winning it. So, like, you've managed Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and Man City. Boring. How boring is that? And you've got all the best players in the world. Boring. It's easy. Go and take over. I mean, maybe not Leyton Orient, but take over Aston Villa and make yourself a legend in the West Midlands. Come on, Pep. Come on, son.
Well, there's your plead for Pep. I'll let you have that, mate.
Don't put that.
I won't be clipping that up. I won't be clipping that up. No.
I think I've lost my mind.
Yeah. But no, it's going to be interesting to see over the coming weeks what happens and whether they give him, this week, whether they give him to the World Cup, whether they give him the season. Who knows? But I do think we're coming to an inevitable end, fortunately or unfortunately. We've got Fulham on Thursday. I'm sure we'll be back for a preview pod in the coming days, mate. Ready for that. And hopefully we can, take some of those positives and hopefully put some of those chances away that we created yesterday away on Thursday night. But yeah, we'll be back with news from the press conference, I'm sure. And whether it's a short form pod or whether it's a full episode, we'll wait and see, mate. But thanks very much for jumping on, mate. It's been good chewing the fat with you again.
No worries, mate. It's going to get interesting over the next few weeks, isn't it? There's going to be a lot to talk about, whether that's managerial changes or, whether, if we get a result against Fulham, is it going to be enough? And as I think you said a couple of times, if you beat Fulham and you beat Brentford and then, you do it well, is there a corner turned? I was still prepared to give him a corner to turn if we win the next 4 or 5 games, but I don't know.
Easier said than done, innit? Easier said than done.
Mate. So yeah, thanks, mate. No worries. Good to chat.
Yep, you too. And thanks everyone for your comments. It's amazing to get so many comments coming through. Thanks so much for tuning in. As I said before, if you could please leave a like on the video, and if you're first time tuning in or if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. As I say, we'll be back in the next couple of days with a match preview for Fulham, and then I'm sure we'll be on reacting to that game, hopefully with us getting the 3 points. But yeah, as for now, thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, remember, you'll follow the Villa. Bye everyone.